Hello everybody, this is Yahya Xatzbani Levi telling you how's going things in the Middle East and in the Israeli politics. This time I do it in English. Excuse my English, it's not my mother language, my mother tongue. But let's see what happens. First of all, whatever is happening in the United States influences the Middle East because obviously the United States is the major power in the Middle East, the major influence. After that comes Europe and after that comes Russia. So all the time it influenced the inner conversation in the Middle East, but let's not forget that the United States was doing steps that looked like leaving the Middle East, but at the same time Donald Trump, President of the United States, was supporting very much the Israeli perspective of the conflict, and whatever will happen in the United States will influence obviously Israel. So what is happening in the inner politics in Israel? Well, we all know that the government is a new government. After the third election, they managed to make a government. They managed to make a government because the coronavirus crisis that pushed everyone to re-establish a government without going to another election. But as the coronavirus crisis leave the top of the newspapers, we see the cracks coming in. And what are the cracks? What are they talking about? What are the things that are in the middle of the crisis, or whatever the politic is? Again, it's the United States. It's the great program of Donald Trump to make peace in the area, using a lot of influence, money, and supporting the Israel narrative. So now they are really into establishing the rule that will say what kind of power the government will have to confront the corona, because before that they just said it's an emergency and did whatever they want, and now the judges, like the court, told them you should establish a proper law to say what are the exact measures that you need in order to confront this virus. And the next thing that's on the table is this annexation, should I say? The Donald Trump problem. And they all seem to be trying their best not to go into this subject, which means this is a major subject coming just ahead of us, a major subject, and no one wants to confront it. No one wants to really confront it. There are visitings to the establishments in the West Bank, there are like conversations, but we all know that when the moment comes, it will be a very difficult moment for the Israeli politics. Not everyone supports it. Whoever supports it are not united. Very few people understand what does it mean. What exactly is the plan? And we could see that yesterday the foreign minister of Germany was visiting this area, and the way he visited, I want to point out the way he visited Israel and said to the Palestinians that he's not going to visit the Palestinian Authority now, but he actually flew to Jordan, and then he met the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority in Jordan, which means that the Germans are very much standing on what used to be the last narrative, that Jordan is like the sovereign entity that takes under its coat the Palestinian Authority. Although for a long time it wasn't like that. Now they go back to this situation, like in Oslo time and Madrid agreements and Y Planet agreements. There is like a backdrop to older perspective. And we could see that Germany is very much concerned about what's going on here, because Germany we all know, is a supporter of Israel, especially because the consequences of Second World War. But Germany wants to support also the Palestinians. They cannot support just one side. So it's a very complicated situation, because the major powers of the world, as I said before, the United States and Europe, are very much involved in this move that's going to take whatever will happen in the next few weeks come ahead. Have a good weekend. From me, Yahya Xatzbani Levi from Israel.